Wednesday, September 16, 2020. Good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of the program Good Morning Saloon for this week. We come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We will bring you this Wednesday edition of the program Good Morning Saloon. Musa Kamara, naminim.
And Mina Mebel Kaba, good morning. Inside this midweek edition of the program Good Morning Saloon, the managing director na Saratel Fode Sanko say, if government not put scope up on Saratel, the company go tap for work by December this year. The Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, David Moinina Senge, say the reason we make some Beke students them been take the exam na net, now because some school them not been do verification the time where WAEC been set for them. And at the program this morning, the head of communication at the Salon Judiciary, the can't talk about the criminal session where then do this BNT Musa then Fenot say out of 77 cases in a Kailaun district, 43 of them na sexual penetration cases.
Well, these and plenty other stories them did at the program for you, plus you go know waiting day inside the second edition of the public procurement manual where the National Public Procurement Authority pulled this BNTM. Members say they listen we live on the internet on www.radiodemocracy.sl, courtesy of Osiwa and powered by AfriCell. And Sefi they listen we live from Radio Shalom 89.5 where they cover the entire Kwaneduga and Falba district, and some partners on Kolili, Radio Malen 88.5 and Radio 1G 11.1 na Pujaon district, Radio Kolente 90.5 na Kambia, Radio Moa 105.5 na Kailaon district, and Sef Radio Voice of Karine 98.0 na Kamakwi. The program na Good Morning Saloon. You can be part of them by way you can send text message to the number 0779819881. 0779819881 are the number where you go send a text message and be part of the program Good Morning Saloon. As you read from one power headline stories them today inside the program we go know about the waiting day inside the second edition of the public procurement manual with the National Public Procurement Authority Police BNTM. Well, for can talk on that I get now the studio the Deputy Director Capacity Building National Public Procurement Authority, Siaka Kuruma. Good morning and welcome to the program Good Morning Salon.
Good morning, Musa. Good morning, Mabel. Good morning, listeners.
Okay, continue for the week. We come to you inside the program Good Morning Salon.
The first issue where we look at na the program this morning na usai salon na wampan the country them where don they suffer from bad health facility them na and na wampan the country them where according to research they part of the one them we get the highest rate of maternal mortality and other sick them we can kill women and picking them. This concern for the country in health sector make the Executive Director for Civil Society on Health and Human Rights, Victor Lansana Kuroma, say they been doing assessments on the country in health sector for no outside the problem day, and say according to the research we then do, it shows say because plenty workman, well body workman them now government hospital knocking take them work with seriousness can make plenty people can lost in life. Well, Victor Lansana Kuroma talk more about this inside this interview with Wani Gauja.
The manner in which the health workers, especially when we talk about health workers across, the nurses, them, the doctors, them, and caregivers, them, even the one that they work in the mortuary, the complaints them where they come up from the public, it don't they plenty. The way when they treat them, the way when they neglect patient they go to the hospital, they know they attend to her on time, and nobody know they talk about this. Nobody know they take action. So now I make we think say as a civil society where they promote health and human rights issue, where they call on the government, especially the Minister of Health and Sanitation, let them make sure say the 1956 Act, the Nurses and Midwife Act, they need for review, because in that act they make provision for letting nurses them able to do their work very effectively by holding their health workers accountable for anybody where they misbehave, where they pay attention, where they neglect patients. And as a matter of fact, it is a crime where you neglect patients till he die. It's a criminal offense, and by we laws, it's not good. Anybody who then find you do that, they punishable by law.
Okay, so how now come up with this conclusion? Say nurses they know they take their work seriously. Is it now promoting people that they tell una or una self do una?
We do an independent observation at the facilities. In fact, this right across, say health alert get coordinators all over. So when they complain, I don't come them, but what I do, we are alert with colleagues them, the coordinators them. For them, they just go and observe what they happen. They observe that the outpatients, they go PCMH hospital, then go to Kupa Satellite Hospital, then go to Connaught Hospital, and then they also na the district, then na the regional hospitals them. They compile them kind of report, then they send out to me say, well, indeed, director, this not the complaints them where we we say go verify for say yes, there are patients the way patient and nurses the way patient they go to hospital. Some don't even care for pay attention to the patient. Some man they busy on phone, some man they on WhatsApp, and some man they in fact way patient they carry the hospital. So they demand. But one key thing we not been good, where we think that the government need for their attention. The delay in the outpatient is very serious. There is a triage. And that triage that means where you go there, whether you're a COVID suspect or not, therefore take everybody as like a suspect. So, but the triage, now one means that the way they screen you. But most times when patients they go under, now did the delay they take place. And there are several instances where people mention where patients don't go there with emergency situations, then delay on that patient until the patient then lost their life. I think say this, it must change and not go continue to happen. We categorically condemn that. And I make what they say, one thing with the government for do now, the ministry for do, let it review the 1956 Act. We don't hold because you know make provision for the safety and the right of the patient.
So I wanna walk man and go get the info.
By observation, what I mean, like how you can do, you know introduce yourself, but you snap, you observe and see what did happen exactly. You go to the outpatient, you see what did happen. You go to the wards, then you see what did happen, right? And then from there, you interview one or two health workers, them nurses, them. Now, so exactly them do.
So how frequent
right?
Una do Amona come up with this company?
This is an activity we don't do for the past 3 months there now. And the thing say from where this COVID starts, it don't become very consistent. Now I make more they come up with this. For we think say we did raise this because we think say government don't do a lot. Not to say the health workers them, some of them are bad eggs in the system. Not to say that they all they do this one. Now a good number of them they are very good and they do very well, but you get the bad one they when they without the system. Now they raise this concern for and they bring this to the attention of government. Then they know say the good effort they don't do over the years. They don't allow them bad nurses and they them bad health workers and they for point that good image. The other thing for do observe now the doctors inside. We also notice that most of the doctors then they just spend like then 2 or 3 hours at the government hospital. They don't even get much time. When they can, then just ask for patient after that, then go back to the private surgery. Now they spend nearly 7 to 8 hours. And these are paid doctors. My sister, you know very well recently, the very nurses and doctors then they be asked for their government increase in salary, all the pay package government provide. Tax free, and in salary in most of the front end workers, we also join in the advocacy for the government provider. So by now, for expect say themselves for able to give back to the government, they will pay attention to the patient. But most of them they just don't care about their private surgeries and that kind of stuff. So that and one other thing will also observe.
Okay, so with the negligence where you say they on the side of the nurses and the doctors, the well body workman there, which una research una do because it's in a constructive research una do. Which una think say na the reason for the entire?
Well, basically it has been a practice, na habitual business. Now it get for boil down on attitude and behavior. The reason is they not get an effective monitoring system. The nurses and midwife, well, the medical and dental council, how often they not ever go to the facility, let them do an on-the-spot check of their health workers. They don't do them. Some of them, the challenge, they will talk to the chief nursing officer and the others, them, they get challenged with logistics, they get challenged with vehicle for even go out for do monitoring, they don't get them. And these are all recipe for their bad work happen.
So, we don't get a time where they meet the Ministry of Health with them concern here and bring at.
Yes, in most times, in the ministry get an up policy, work is done and discuss. But some of the issues, then in fact, the chief nursing officer on several occasions being in the online, where they communicate these are the issues. It tell me say Victor, not to say some of you not aware, but what you will do. Number one, what you give me the trend for those who hold on us accountable. Now the act, and we not get power. Private nursing schools then they when they exist. We in fake nursing schools then they train people that when they not qualify, then they do bad system. How do we hold them? Because the act when I give me the trend for those do the work fine one, it old and government need for review them. So that's one of the excuses they tell we, right? And then they hide under the COVID now. Where patients they come, they know they touch. Or until we do a test, COVID now exacerbates the increase more the situation, make them more worse. Significantly, the negligence and the abandonment on their profession also don't contribute to the death of patients the way they happen at the hospital.
Well, that's now Victor Lansana Kurumadi, Executive Director for Civil Society on Health and Human Rights, been talking that interview with Swani Gauja for Sika assessments where he said and do na the health sector.
The program na Good Morning Salon as a reform headline today you go know within the inside the second edition of the Public Procurement Manual with the National Public Procurement Authority Police BNTM. As the National Public Procurement Authority na body way they for regulate public procurement, we mean say for buy property for public or government use, and this organization or this institution don't engage in plenty activities them this BNTN, and one of them na foresee say then review and update the procurement manual of 2006 for improved procurement, especially during emergencies, and now then the old nationwide the sabi to procurement officers them how for use the manual and the capacity building department and they in charge of this process here. So well for sake of that we get the deputy director capacity building national public procurement authority Siaka Kuruma. Good morning again and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Good morning again, Musa.
Yes, I tell listeners say one of the activities we your office engage on this Benton for review and update the procurement manual of 2006 for improved procurement during emergencies. Now, take me through some of the things them we this debut the procurement manual.
All right, okay, thank you so much. Basically, the procurement manual really there for harmonize and inform the public procurement practitioners them how to use the act, how to use the regulations. Interestingly enough, the first act was passed in Parliament in 2004, where we being here for update and review, and we review and update in 2016. So there was need for like we harmonize the manual with the 2020. We also get to public procurement regulations 2020. So we need for harmonizing 3 legal frameworks and basically the manual they use step-by-step guide how for like do procurements in every possible situation currently. So what the 2020 manual is doing is to update public procurement practitioners with up to speed procedures and for do public procurement, even like in COVID when an emergency situation, with international best practice.
You mentioned step by step. What are some of the steps then in procurement when we contain the manual?
Okay, so public procurement laid out with timelines, like you get bidding period and all of that. It really takes time. So basically what the manual is explaining is that in situations where you have emergency, like for example for COVID, it spell out clearly the steps you can take to shorten the time of procurement so that you provide the goods or the services or the works needed at that particular point in time within the shortest possible time frame.
But now Onabi already gets the first edition we Onabi they use in from 2006.
Yeah.
So waiting different day inside this second edition where you want for compare to the first documents we Onabi done they use.
So thank you, Mabel. Like I said initially, you know, when the act was passed in 2004, there was need for it to be reviewed by 2016. And the same view we will review, we get some, we find out, so when you make laws or procedures, there are some gaps, and then you close those gaps. So what we did now with the 2020 manual is to explicitly explain all in gray areas and we've been there in the 206 manual. For example, you find out, say, with the COVID-19 outbreak, procurement processes have been smooth, unlike when Ebola been hit back then. So the lessons learned from that Ebola period have been updated into the manual to ensure that there is a smooth operation of public procurement going forward.
But even before now they come updates and review this 2020 own challenges be done the day implementing the one we've been there in 2016. Because if you look at the ministries, departments and agencies them way the manual can work for, something then they inside the manual. For example, not to all the ministry departments and agencies them they follow the regulations them we wanna be done put say where you want for buy government property. Now this procedure you for follow. Waiting be done they happen.
Okay, so there has been a situation, if you look at the audit reports over the years, there has been consistent non-adherence to public procurement rules and regulations. So basically, what we have now done is also last year, the NPPA for the very first time do their own procurement assessment, which has been tendered out, laid out to Parliament. Basically, what is contained in that one is to try and review procurement processes across MDAs, look out for the gray areas, and then what we are now found out of the reasons why make with the usher in this training for the public procurement manual, procurement records management, contract management, is because we have found out that over the years, these are issues and we don't become contentious, and we they become audit exceptions. So for law, we go harmonize and sanitize the public procurement landscape. That's why we're coming up with all these new regulations, and just to put controls.
So the procurement officers them way be done they use this manual before, not get that capacity they or sabi for no say. Now waiting they inside the procurement manual, them office them for follow way then they procure.
It could be two ways. It could be capacity gap. It could be deliberate act. So now what we're doing on our own part is to ensure that we fulfill our obligations for improve the capacity of everybody within our public procurement landscape, all practitioners. So in the events like if you fall short of I'm not adhering to the rules and regulations, you cannot really say you know be no.
Now, you make mention of the gap for shorten the gap or for reduce the challenge them with this the first manual be done the on procurement. How this they solve the issue or the challenges them way they na the procurement way according to the people in go by and most times.
So let me just be clear. Basically, waiting. I mean, what I say like for reduce the gap. So, for example, if you need for advertise for a national competitive bidding for like 2 weeks, in an emergency situation, you really can do like a sole sourcing. So those procedures are explained in details how to follow them, and also we ensure say the manual is explicit enough so that it not will be open to abuse.
What you mean by sole sourcing and how that's significant in terms of emergencies?
Okay, so public procurement is always about competition. So where is the national competitive bidding? Like you ask people for tender bids for you for provide for you goods, works, and services. So in emergency situations, you really can zero in on. Say, listen, I want specific. I want malaria drugs, for example, and you go straight to one person or just two people then for supply you those things, so that it's not like you reduce the time in where everybody get for do their own administrative work, send them bids in, open bids, and all those stuff.
So how not able for ensure say this go be workable, we will avoid the issue of corruption, because over the years and experience, if the one way then be they get time for do all of that, allegations then be done the come out of people not using the right procedure. How unable for arrange and for at the end of the day we not get alleged corruption involved in some of the procurements that we're going to do during emergencies like the COVID period now?
Thank you very much. What we have ensured through the leadership of the Chief Executive Ibrahim Brahmaswari is to have the NPPA do end-to-end reviews in public procurement. So with best ability, we are trying to ensure that we get procurement practitioners and for adhere to the rules. So it's not like a situation where we come after the fact. So this one, we are not involved in the process, but we guide the process. So like basically, we will not tell you who to select to involve in your procurement procedure, but we'll review it. Where we find issues, we'll let you know.
Now you talk about sole sourcing and we say opportunity good for few people for get access to a bidding process because of time. How transparent this good when it comes to sole sourcing, considering the fact say in procurement bidding for the way everybody or would I get interest for come and bid? Right. And go through the right process for get the contract.
Okay, so that will be very practical. For example, yeah, if you need like 1,000 hospital beds right now, if you need 1,000 hospital beds right now, if you need like 1,000 hospital beds right now, you in an emergency situation, you really not go able for like sit down and say. Like you follow all those. It's also sole source is also NCB, but just that you're looking for selected. Just it is a restrictive bidding, so it will be transparent because it has a third. I mean, as NPPO will review it, all this service will come and review it. The ACC have the rights if they experience any or they suspect any foul play to come in. So. The main reason we make NPPA, they do all of these things are for ensuring transparency in the public procurement landscape, and that can be assured.
Okay, in name na Siaka Kuruma, in the Deputy Director Capacity Building National Public Procurement Authority. There they talk about the second edition of the procurement manual. We organization pull this BNTM. The program na Good Morning Saloon. We come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We continue for look at more issues inside the program Good Morning Saloon. As workman dem na Saratel don dey raise concern for sake a better condition of service wey dem say dem no dey get, and other challenge dem wey this company dey go through. Make the managing director na Saratel for this and say if government not put couple pan Saratel, then the operation of this company go close by the end of December this year because of couple challenge. He talk this inside one interview to the Democracy where he been the respond to some allegation them we some workman them na Saratel raise about the condition of service. For more on this, we join Cherno Jalo.
The Sierra Leone Telecommunication Company Limited, Saratel, na 100% government-owned mobile company, where they for make sure say government support in citizen them for able for communicate to each other daily. This company don't do this for long term now, as they don't provide communication services them to plenty people in the country over the past years them. But this BNTM is strange for see person where they use Saratel network, where make plenty people believe say Saratel network and facility them when they provide don't they die slowly and not able for match up to other mobile company them where they come na saloon. Now for sake of this make plenty people expect say more government attention for them and this company as now government get them and it will generate more revenue for the government where they go use for other development programs them. But this now why plenty people think say not don't they happen as in clear say the foreign mobile company them don't they make them pass the only government mobile company no the country gets. And this now one big concern to plenty people now the country, more especially the staff them where they work in Saratel, as then they say for long term now they know they get the facility them where they're supposed to forget.
Like me when they talk to you, so me and me 28 years of service now. I they tell you, as I talk to you, so even lands, empty lands for not getting bicycles on me, you are not getting for myself. One of the key concern is the medical. Now the 2 years is up to this time we talk with medical facilities now, very, very more poor. As we talk now, we don't even know when they pay we for last month's salary.
Management don't make the staff they don't discourage and not to the point that they don't frustrate. What lead to that? What management they talk they need to do. And worst of it is that the place is not developing, the place that they grow. We get people that already work for 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. Now they hope for the future. Now they hope for get them benefit for go live a peaceful life. People then they go live, you know, competent for pay then they live. And worst of it about the live, now pick and choose. How can a man they go live January, you know get money, somebody go live July get money?
Believe me, my brother, what they tell you so, this coming future, I'm afraid the end of it. Because if you look how things they go, people don't go retirement. They never pay them. Also, you know, so they drag too. And the drainage, they can't send them drag.
With all them concern, I will workman the adoris. Make up been decided for talk to the managing director na Saratel for the Sanko. Wait, tell me what's in the makeup of this concern. Where the workman here is.
I agree with all the team staff there. Most of what they say, not to all, not to. Some of them they will go disputes. For example, the issues about the medical and the leave allowance system and the end of service benefits be delayed. Sometimes their salary, sometimes is delayed for 1 month, maybe a month and a half. That's it. Since I've been here, at no point the salary don't be delayed for 3 months. Since me take over August 2019, all these mountains of problems that they complain about, all has been here over 3, 4, 5 years. It's nothing new. The reality now, the business is not making money.
For the Sanko continue say, one big problem with the company on the face, and that government only put much attention on the country in your mobile company. So he say if this continue by the end of December, Saratel go close.
The reason for which make staff salary the delay is purely financial. Saratel no get money. I inherit this business bankrupt. Saratel is almost collapsing, near collapse. Between now and December, if the government and people of Sierra Leone not pay attention to Saratel, the business will collapse. If government not put small money inside Saratel for boost them up. And the message is I came here on day one, now that Saratel is in a very, very critical situation.
As you don't hear from the managing director, where they say if government not put measures in place, by the end of December this year, the company will close. This make ask recommend them, now Saratel, what this mean to them if the company close?
Over 400 staff then waiting in Saratel. If Saratel close down, or with all the lost job, and some of we get dependent then, now more burden on government. So these are we concerned. Instead of government allow this from make it happen, we are made a fair ways and it's made a service the situation.
As of now we dey control the command them because as union we go for continue social dialogue. Because if you left to command, they want go on a strike. Now two things: either government pump money now, go to PPP, private partnership.
That would they beg let the government step in. If the government step in, believe me, Saratel, we are nowhere in.
Corruption, lack of better equipment, political interference, according to the managing director of Saratel, Fode Sanko, don't be one great reason why make Saratel not able to compete with other mobile companies in them na the country.
Unfortunately, I get people from high up there. They call me on the phone and give me verbal instructions. Fire the staff, not fire the staff. My coming to Saratel, I'm not here to disadvantage anyone based on tribal, regional, or ethnicity. The CDMA network, when the main thing we get, the CDMA network is outdated. Until government change we from CDMA to GSM, we cannot compete. Some people in Saratel, they don't build 2-3 houses then, out of theft. But initially when I came, we were spending too much money on fuel. So I was able to slash down the cleaning, the fuel, and the security, and which caused us to save minimum of 500-600 million a month.
But one concern we will command the raise now the fact that the while government privatize Saratel because then things say now the only way that this mobile company will grow. But this according to the managing director of Saratel, Fode Sanko, if government for privatize Saratel, if for they up to standard, but not to term like this, where the company don't they broke down. But for sake of this, make the chairman of the National Commission for Privatization, Dr. Prince Adin, be make and clear to Radio Democracy say the commission they now engage with the management of Saratel for see how best then we will tap the challenge them when they happy na Saratel. For the Society for Radio Democracy, me, Nachemno Jalo, they report.
The program is still listening to now. Good morning, Salon. They come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Don't forget to yourself when they listen to the program. Can add your voice to Tinem we will talk about. The number is 077-981-981 or go now with Radio Democracy 98.1 Facebook page. And as well, you can find we Radio Democracy on YouTube and add your voice to discussion at the program. And also one for say plenty thank you to we partner radio station them where they ensure say they relay within Radio Democracy the broadcast daily. Plenty thank you to the management of Radio Shalom. Now they get with it on 89.5 where they cover the entire Koenadugu and Falaba districts and some parts in Atonkolili. Radio Malen 88.5, Radio Wanji na Pojan district, Radio Colinsen 90.0 na Cambia and Self Radio Moi 105.5 na Kailahon district. Plenty thank you to una all for where una they ensure say una relay waiting Radio Democracy to do. Not forget na the program this morning we dey look at the procurement manual, the second edition where NPPA Police BNTN and SEF. We go for can talk to the head of communication na the Salon Judiciary where na Elkas Sano. We go for can tell we but the criminal session where the judiciary they do na different parts of the country outside and fair not in a Kailan district no more. Inside 77 cases where they look inside 43 of them na sexual penetration case. We go for can talk to them later. For can tell we how the criminal session they carry on a different parts of the country. We did take short commercial break and continue for look at more issues na the program this morning.
Salon Commercial Bank don't come with new banking products them for make life easy. With Million Online Bank and Million Mobile app, you can able for use Salon Link money transfer for send money to anybody in like you not get bank account. Transfer or receive money na the same bank or any other bank. Transfer money to person or office in like you not get the account number. Buy Edsalite, pay other bill them, and now get advanced salary. You don't need for worry again, but almost money then you earn. Because you can able for pay for things the way you buy in a supermarket and other shop them with the quick response code payment. Yagbadon done for we boss man them. With Million Online Direct, you can upload salary, pay all you supplier them, sell forex to Salon Commercial Bank, and watch your account anytime. If you need the app, Download them from Google Play Store or any Apple Store, or go na Salon Commercial Bank website www.slcb.com. Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, delivering value.
Alright, from that commercial break there, we come over now to we other studio guest. As I tell you earlier, the head of communication at the Salon Judiciary, Wena Elkas Sano. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Good morning, and I'm happy for the.
Alright, well, Elkas Sano there this morning for cancel we bought the criminal session. The second one where the judiciary they do na different parts na the country. Also, na the High Court criminal session they actually call them. Then begin them from the 31st of August and it go down the 26th of October. Also, the judiciary they make sure say they can judge them go. Na different parts na the country. Also, they not get sitting judge them for ensure say they can justice to the people and do them fast so that people go get justice for case them where them be don't care gonna court but not being get judgments on. And at the second edition this way the judiciary they do. Today na the program we want for let El Casano can tell we waiting and waiting don't they happen because they don't already find out say na Kailaun district for example inside 77 case them waiting at the district 43 of them na sexual penetration case. Well El Casano let we start first we not go start na Kailaun district but overall let we see whose difference the criminal session bring come to the justice sector. We take a look at people we be done get constrained over the years before we introduce the moving of judges them go different parts them. Whose difference this don't bring come na the justice sector?
A lot. Good morning again. Mi fambulem. Happy for the in talk to now. The High Court criminal sessions we start like we say from the 31st day of August when will be Monday at the end the 26th of October. For far too long, Fambulem we they listen me go agree with me say concerns they come from the public, including the media. We then say some man came for straight way they take him matter gonna the court. So man can say justice to them is very much expensive because they're not able to take justice to Usai than they in some parts of the country. So when His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio appoints the current Chief Justice, His Lordship Justice Desmond Babatunde Edwards, he as a listening somebody, he decide for ensure say the cry of the people make the judiciary under in leadership address some of them concerns them. And how for address that? Now one of them now to this High Court criminal session where they carry on in different parts of the country. Waiting at the idea. The idea here is one, now for reduce the crowd where then correctional centers they can get. Secondly, now for take justice to the doorstep of every citizen, devoid of your social status. We no one know your religious background, no one know your regional background. Waiting key here now that you na a Sierra Leonean. Now that's very important to the judiciary. Then the final part, now that the part of that concern that matters in the delay, which case then they go na court, then the delay na court. And for address this also as part of the decongestion of the correctional centers, now for also ensure expeditious trials. We mean say, where you take your matter na court, within the shortest possible time, therefore able to deliver judgment, either in favor of the complainant or in favor of the accused person. But what's more important here now that for change the face of the judiciary and for make sure say the concerns them where people them they come with, may you make sure say you address them that now for actually demonstrate a new face of the judiciary.
Now, we talk about criminal session. What are some of the cases them way this session they look at?
The total number of cases na 353 cases.
No, we dey look at the nature of the cases, then we dey look at.
Now that's how the count. I want to explain. We get 353 cases them across the country, from Pujem, Kailang, Matrujon, Moyamba, Kabala, Potsloko, there with part of Magburuka. Out of them places, them all I don't call the total number of cases na 353 cases. Then the cases then range from murder, sexual penetration, wounding with intent, larceny, burglary, among so many other cases. Them. So now then case them what then one I don't call the now part of the cases then that way some people understand trial. But what's unique inside then cases them the then 353 cases now doubt sexual penetration now stand out. Like for example, na Pujem, when we been the Pujem get 43 cases. Out of them 43 cases them 27 na sexual penetration. Then we come to Potsloko. Potsloko, out of the number of cases them we did 25 na sexual penetration. Then Kailang 77, 42 na sexual penetration. But what is stand out clearly now that if you look at the magnitude of or the statistics way been on the out on sexual penetration for 2019 to 2020, you go find out say it actually don't reduce. It don't reduce compared to 2019. That they tell you say indeed the effort where government they put in this fight for reduce sexual penetration or rape, it really they yield the required dividend. But like if you look at generally the statistics will show out na the southeast a more prominent, especially in sexual penetration compared to the north.
Okay, in out of the 300 and or over 350 cases, how many of them proceedings here end in judgment?
Because the session no end it, as I talk to you right now, in other places them the session they carry on the because it day on to the 26th. As it is, when I've been to talk to some of the judges them, we don't get over 100 judgments where then judges them they don't actually deliver. But forget an overwhelming statistics, you go only able to do that at the end of the session. Because we've been get actually challenges. Like when we go Pujem, the one Justice Ganda, one of the challenges them way we face with now that we notice say witnesses they not been come forward. And mark you, this now the judiciary of Sierra Leone now in the fund 100% of this entire session where the government of Sierra Leone as part of in ambition the government they provide support to the judiciary. And one thing also where the judiciary they do where it not ever happen now that the Chief Justice a very much magnanimous within leadership that they decide say more we allocate transportation for them witnesses them. We really don't know. We don't want to know who side come out. We don't want to know who side the region, the part of the country where you did. But the reason why the Chief Justice in wisdom decide for allocate some finance for them witnesses them. Now that over the years, for come up with witnesses them, especially in then trials them, it be not difficult. Why make it difficult? Because of the terrain them way then sitting in the take place. Like for example, I remember I come up from Kailang and we drive come through Matru. You find out saying the road network na far distance. Assuming now matter like them particular sitting they take place na Matujo, then you get a witness where na bo stay. You go watch out and say for come give witness no more. Me they can pay transport.
All right, the judiciary don't provide transportation for the now. But let we look at the cases. Yusuf don't state earlier say inside the 353 cases all over the country, prominent among them gets to do with sexual penetration. And now we talk about the issue of witness them. The sexual penetration cases them way like outstanding out of the whole criminal case them way the judge them they go and look inside so now. The witness then willing for come out and talk. Na then case here, the one the way una don't cover so far, we take into consideration most of the cases where they happen, for example, now Fitoya in the Western area, gets for do with people and when are family members them. So people in that part of the country willing for come out and testify in a court.
Like I say, that not been the major challenge. Initially, we've been finding difficult. Like where I take Pujen for instance.
So now
the judge bring them to my attention until we extensively engage the media, then begin come willingly. But by all that, at the end of the day, you find out say if you get like 50 cases in front of a judge, sometimes the judge can able pass judgment on 45. The balance because of one reason or the other, judgment not can be delivered. So they can actually adjourn them to assign them to another judge. We will continue with the matter because this now like this criminal session, this they take place now side them we no get sitting judge. Now the idea now for make sure say people them not suffer now detention for the wrong reason.
But how? So, waiting at the time frame when they give this, the judge them where una they rotate so because if the cases is on plenty and una get stipulated dates from now to now una for complete them, how long una they give them for them a certain side we not get judge?
Let for Pujem for example, the session starts from the 31st and end on the 11th. Na Pujem. Similarly, Putloko. For Kailan, because of the number of cases, 77, that time frame not be enough from 31st to the 11th. So there was an extension to the 16th. Within that time frame, if I don't know say the judge them because one unique thing where they happen now that the judge them this ever they happen like for Kailan Justice Simeon Aliu, the first day. When the session starts, a day na court stay 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock na net. Not until them come with generator, them come with provide generator for make sure say make them able done the matter within the time frame. Because the whole idea is that make you able make sure say you take justice to the people and decongest the prisons and expeditious trial.
So in situations like this where case they sit on a net, considering the structures na them part of the country, then they how safe the witness then they.
Then now that make this we do we do collectively with the one within the justice sector. The security been they mount so much security that the security even the witness they accuse the complainant they feel comfortable with the security where they mount because everywhere you see police presence, you see OSD, so security not to be a problem. The whole thing is now for make sure say make them deliver judgment or then don't then cases them within the time frame. Like for example, there was a case na Pujen when I one 20-year-old at that time where them detain him when I one Momo Gombu. Now he was 20 years old. The time when they come out, when they acquit and discharge him matter, he was already 22 years. What thing basically he do? He say na Jimmy Bagbo dem born am. He can learn tailoring na Moyamba na Bo. Then in boss take am na Pujem. Why he did it? He get a neighbor there. He go take one in paddy in bicycle. When the daddy come, I say. They don't thief in picking bicycle and money don't lost when at 350,000 euros. At the end of the day, they go make report against them. because there was no sitting judge in Abuja, wetin happen? E dey under remand, e dey na remand for 2 years, 3 months. So automatically, e dey not already run in term. So when dem go, apart from running in term, na that evidence, they not be able to adduce evidence na court for able to make them convict that accused person dey. So the whole idea here is now for me you able to make sure say make people them not continue for the na correctional center. They continue for crowd them, especially this COVID-19 time. But mark you, not to this na the only term. The judiciary, because of the success stories so we don't get, the judiciary they make sure say they continue with this direction so that you will take justice to every part of Sierra Leone.
Continue for the between the studio El Casano, head of communications na the Salon Judiciary. We'll come back to the program. They continue 8:15 at the time from the studio clock. We take short commercial break.
Because money easy for loss, like how it easy for broke egg. You save not for life you couple business to people they will not sabi, and one day we get ben. Union Trust Bank get all the correct and master sabi people them for help make you couple better. We na Union Trust Bank team up Tiranga, so your money go fine with no wahala, and you no go get we kind service no other side. Make good use of we SMS alert where they show you your money transaction. Enjoy we internet banking services for check your accounts. Safe, you can visit our website on www.utb.sl for no more, but we order plenty products and service them. Now Union Trust Bank, excellence now it's on card. Union Trust Bank, the force and true Salomon Bank.
The program is still listening to a Good Morning Salon where they come to you from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We will bring you this edition of the program Good Morning Salon. Musa Kamara na my name.
And Mabel Kaba.
We still get Siaka Kuruma, Deputy Director Capacity Building, National Public Procurement Authority. They talk about the second edition of the Public Procurement Manual where the National Public Procurement Authority Police BNTM. Mr. Kuruma, when you look at this manual, what are some of the thematic areas them where it look at in procurement business?
Okay, so thank you, Musa. The manual they talk about the new manual explicitly talk about I don't explain about emergency situations. They talk about procurement reporting. So basically, what's in that mean now for like MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies of government go able for like reports to the regulatory board when are NPPA, then procurement activities from on the periodic basis. So basically that gives us the opportunity for us to do end-to-end reviews of procurement activities. So where there are issues, they have been trashed out. It's also talk about contract management. Over the years, a lot of MDAs, once they sign contract, that's the end of their procurement process. They do not really go into proper contract management as to like review the risk involved in the contract, how the contract they perform, the license lands and all of those things. So the manual will go explicitly into all those situations. So those are some of the thematic areas and way they into the new manual.
You talk about contract management. We don't see a situation who say people get contracts for build school, hospital now some parts of the country or like for the provincial area, for instance. After that process in 2 years time, you see this school don't begin crack. You see the everything we then do don't go down the drain as if now 50 years then bill them. How this manual go address challenges like that? People will win contracts for do then can project here for on behalf of the government now remote areas.
Thank you very much. So basically, here's what should waiting for happen realistically. So if you're not a procurement person, you're not like you're not a civil engineer, you're not a contractor. Get expert knowledge in that in construction, for example. What you will do is you can solicit the service of an expert who will help you for like monitor the project as it's going on. But basically, in every contract management, you for be able to do your risk assessments, so you know what's not the risks the way they envisage or the risks the way it will come about, how to mitigate them. So until you are able to have that flow. Usai you assess, you identify your risk, you able to put mitigations them in place for make sure say when there is any crystallize, the project not go there in danger. So that's done become lacking over the years in the execution of project like that we talk about. So basically now the manual they go explicitly and teach people, and that's why we are also conducting these trainings for teach people how for manage and contract, and basically how for do risk assessment, how for do risk mitigation.
And also working as a journalist, don't they report on the various fields them, and especially like for in the area of contracts where some people will be aggrieved. Allegation of bidding process. You see, for instance, the bidding date go close the 5th. The public notice they come out the 7th. That the bidding don't open for this. But when you look at the closing date for the bidding, it's the 5th. But the public notice come out the 6th.
Okay, so well, I don't know about the specific incident you talk about. What I would tell you is that over the years, last 2 years, we don't revise we standard bidding documents them, and the standard bidding forms then actually gets outside, like you can, when you're sending your bid out, you can say when the bid they close, when the bid they open, and it is mandatory for make you state that when the bid they open and outside the bid they open, and it should be open in public. So that issue of the bid don't close and somebody can submit in bid, I don't think say really. I'm not saying it not go happen, but if any bidder aggrieved in a bidding process, there is the IPRP, the Independent Procurement Review Panel. You can go there and make them hear your case.
But on aware say not to all governments, ministry, departments, and agencies they follow the standard bidding procedures them.
Well, as far as I know, in the last 2 years, it is the monitoring, the regulatory arm of NPPA. The monitoring aspects of NPPA, when the regulatory body for public procurement, not become so strengthened to the point that I am not really sure that any MDA go their way not go use the SBD. I mean, in fact, if you not use them, we not go review the documents. It will be sent back to you.
So apart from not reviewing the documents, waiting at the other sanctions and where they for people we like not they comply to ethical standards, where na the documents we na they give them for work by.
Okay, so violation of procurement ethics really gets a number of sanctions, and one could be like the NPP can really recommend, say, that withhold your salary. You can be prosecuted in circumstances say we deem fit for prosecution. Yes, you can be prosecuted. You can be barred from practicing procurement. Really.
Whenever you say this happen.
I do not want to go into the history of whether it don't happen before, it not happen before, but I can assure you
but
that
when they put law, when I go for the ensure say penalize people and we not go by, and because Yusuf might agree say not to every ministry, department, and agency they do it in the manual way on the pull.
So that is why we are now doing the end-to-end review. So basically, we cannot sit by and watch you not follow the manual without reverting to you.
All right, continue for the between the program. Sheka Kuruma, Deputy Director Capacity Building at the National Public Procurement Authority. The program Good Morning Salon they continue, and we go look at other issues at the program now.
And September 14, some picking them begin take the basic education certificate examination beke, but center them na some center them na Makeni, a particular center na Makeni we picking them being sit na net. We say the Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Dr. David Senge, say the reason we make Makeni school picking them take the beke exam na net na because some school them do late entry. Dr. David Senge talk this in one interview with Radio Democracy Magi Mansari.
Now they're not true and they're unfortunate and actually just go WAEC right for begin to understand what's happening and now it happen. There are several reasons why make that happen and several lapses.
So now it's not the reasons that we're responsible for that.
Systemic issues. So some school then they we not only on the net, 9 them verify and send new candidates list them. I go WAEC today up to 9 school then they 9 center then they we then update or they add new candidates then. Will they take exam tomorrow or next tomorrow? The parking they happen today or right on the day of. If you, a school, at that time, they verify and check without them for the school, that means that you don't help yourself, you don't help the picking, you don't help nobody in the system. So that is systemic failure. Now motorman in the park. Okay, so then goes in the call on the park. If motorman park and then check, then do all then check. Remember, we get 295 center then we take exam. Now only about 2 center now this happening or a handful.
Who's at the center then?
Now so now McKinney, then they happen na McKinney 2 center then I think na McKinney, and then na Bo QRS then get about I think 20 to 50 candidates then we on the parking. So on the parking means say the number of picking then we show or within at the list the material you know and one primary reason and then way people then fail for register before and within the park, and the second one we know they turn people then away. Unfortunately, we then show up for exam because many reasons indeed. The other day, 4 picking then can at my office, then principal don't run away, then teacher and able for go give them and sleep. If then picking them and parents then go show up in school, then likely will not they turn their way. And so even though we they overpack sometimes, people then they solve them problem in the different ways.
Somebody go see this now, neglect, carelessness, because that thing way for don't happen before and una sure saying that this number not only at the 11th hour where they affects the picking them.
Unfortunately, yes, and this is a system level failure and system level neglect at all levels. One, the parents then, people then they don't want to see them picking them and sleep. So as parents, we get a responsibility, not just one day before the exam, 1 week before the exam, 2 months before the exam. As a parent, you need to verify, say, you picking actually get a valid sleep. Then picking them work at my office 1 week last Friday, then not being get sleep. And they're private school then they go. Not to say this is not government school, not private school. Now then they go. And I tell them then go police and I me posting with the instead of inspectorate go and engage with them. So as parents in our society, we don't fail with picking them where we know member and for find out whether they get sleep or not. As teachers, principals, we fail with picking them if we not go check for make sure so we picking them validly registered. If we will submit list, we not go follow up and we not engage with WIEC. Not only on the last day they send additional slips there. As a ministry and as DD there and all, we also fail with picking them. Because now we put on the pressure and make sure say no exception are there. This is like system level failure. Then they respond. Not only like say this they happen everywhere. I don't mention to you say about 800,000 people that take exam. MPSC, WAS and Beke. We know areas scatter all over the happen. There are centers and many things anyway for them happen. Between Freetown and McKinney are 2 hours. And that day the WIEC person say if problem in there, that person where they apologize. WIEC take responsibility. Then for them call now WIEC now, make them drive Moscago. 2 hours, the exam for them, they not for they take 6 o'clock now there. There are many reasons. But the people then wake up for go scatter that place there, they know they help them picking them.
Well, this is not the first one for me happen. For me picking a 6 na net.
Sure.
But also the one we get for do with the paper, say picking not turn, they only turn the day for the exam. Not to the first time for me it happened. It may happen during MPSC, yes. And we feel saying a learning point for the ministry. Yeah,
but imagine this: you get 295 center. I know they go send 500 people in every center. We now get 100 candidates because of the members people they know they show, then go show up with the name of the day. It makes no sense.
You know, if you say this is a hindrance to the free quality education, but when they think of quality, picking up for take exam on the candle, picking up for take exam the term way for be at 1, 2, it go to come. You know, if you say a hindrance to the free quality education.
So I want to most separate free quality school education program from the challenges where they happen. Because I didn't the politicization of education, we are the next part. Because if you think about FQSC and waiting it do, now for say anybody who want to take exam in this country, will they pay for them? There are 800,000 people there where they take exam, will they pay for? Will they not pay for it? And that is success. that is quality, that is the transition, okay? The fact say there are systematic challenges where I don't mention say 800,000 people and take exam, where we get 295 centers, but not only a handful of centers this happen, is not indicative of the quality of what's in the happen. We recognize the failures, we recognize the challenges, but it's unfortunate that there are people in society where they say, one challenge there, the whole system is bad, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. That is unfair to the children, not even the government. That is unfair to the children.
That Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, Dr. David Senge, been the talk to Mangi Mansari inside an interview for Seka the Pekin them way sits Beke Nanet na Makini. The program na Good Morning Saloon we come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We go for the short break. We continue the program.
Rokel Commercial Bank don't make a de waka with me bank na me phone. Rokel Commercial Bank go make you de waka with you bank na you phone. Them you come with SIM Corpo and now them don't increase the facility. For sure say na them na the alagba from banking business na now them don't come with SIM Corpo Plus. Them don't come with SIM Corpo Plus. This service go allow you for send money to person where they salon anytime you want. It no matter the mobile company where you there. As you send me go get some quick one. What's na inside salon you there? The money go reach you. It no matter if you there na the east, west, north, south. So secure then you go na Google Play Store and search for the app SIM Corpo Plus. I say download them. Follow the instructions and register your device. The process no long not even reach 2 minutes. When you done the bank go send message na your phone. For confirm say na your phone number bang bang. Enjoy e-Corpo and more facilities. SIM Corpo Plus e come for we all. You dey na city or village just na salon you dey. You e-Corpo go reach you dey. Heads up top up safe now they under the facility. With e-Corpo you can cash out your money from any local commercial bank agent or branch all around the country.
The program Good Morning Salon, they continue with they come over again to we studio guest them, and this time we come over to El Casano. We come out now the Judiciary of Salon. They talk this morning but the criminal session where the High Court they do in different parts of the country Usai not get sitting judge them, and prominent among the cases them so far where then Georgia don't look into and give judgments gets for do with a case Usai Justice Samuel Otilo na Potloko been sentenced somebody to death by hanging, where so many concerns on they can because we law book them, we still get the death sentence there, but they not they use them a dormant day, and we see Justice Samuel Otilo sentence this person death by hanging, where make so many concerns on they come as to waiting exactly been happen na this case.
Basically, we for no say in we law booked them we get that death penalty, then we not still come out now we law book them it. But because we look at the life, how precious people in life they, a lot of Amnesty International, a lot of human rights organizations them across the world, they don't mount a campaign for say they not for the kill people them, and that campaign you know start na the first world then cascade them to other countries them including Sierra Leone, even though it didn't have a law book. But over the years we actually no do them thing. But one thing I want my family out there for know now that murder na a capital offense where the penalty then they condemn you to death. You understand? Because na capital offense. Now, ma just explain among the capital offenses the more we get more than a one. Then we get robbery with aggravation. Then we get treason. Murder, the action where normally they can give you, now that the punishment where they can give, or the action where normally they can effect, now that they kill you na a secret place. Now so it don't happen over the years for murder. Robbery with aggravation, we mean say like when armed robbers then come, now somebody in place, then go thief you, but they not only they go thief you, then they psychologically torture you. Either they rape you, other things them way they affect you mental stability. So that Of course, treason. Treason, normally the action way na by the firing squad.
In this case,
So,
my question is
I
for
just
this
want
particular.
explain. Now,
Yeah,
just
we no want to go all to the other one that we know there in this context. The one for this now where Justice Samuel Otilo in words been say you are sentenced to death by hanging of this person at Putloko. Now waiting this imply. Waiting it mean.
Now that I just been now the premise have been the trifle that the capital offense them and that one way happen at Putloko. Then four people them now murder and like I've been the try for explain to you. Now out of the 4 people them, out of the 4 accused people them, we now 3 then convict to death by hanging. The one they acquit and discharge them. Of course, of all the 2 count charges them. The 1 count they say a conspiracy to commit murder, meaning that particular person where they acquit and discharge, it join then other people them for able murder the person will die. Then the other one they say take part in the killing of this particular person. So at the end of the day, but one thing where I want to family them also know that the court the court or the judge, they look at the law and evidence. The court they always take action, or the judge they deliver judgment based on the law and evidence. When both the lawyers from the 2 sides, that is the accused in lawyer and the complainant in lawyer, then argument, then they will adduce evidence for say my client is guilty or my client is not guilty. Based on the evidence where then they adduce, the judge, the sitting judge, they evaluate them critically. When they evaluate them, he look at both ends. The one way, because like I tell you now, he look at the evidence and he look at the law and the evidence. So at the end of the day, he been able in wisdom based on law and evidence. Justice Taylor have been convicted, then 3 people them to death by hanging.
So what they ask is the death by hanging get for happen or then go day in a prison for the rest of their life.
Well, now that have been just been explained where you say I'm going to that. The premise where have been delayed now that it's still in our law book, but over the years because of them campaigning,
so it will happen.
So no, they know they do. Right. So because they do them, they condemn you. They threw you throughout your lifetime.
The judgments them again for some cases them don't they bring concern. Recently we get reports again where like it not been too clear where you can verify that for say a judge give judgments on a rape case, a police officer where allegedly seen a Dwazak a day, and a sexual penetration case is sentenced the person lesser compared to waiting them don't they do before. Waiting can happen now then circumstances here where we they see sexual penetration and sexual penetration, but a judgment they be for one different to compare to the other.
Yeah, thank you very much. And what may not happen over the years, now that we get the Sexual Offences Act of 2012, where now the Parent Act. And this parent act here, the offenses them where you commit, it gets a particular sentence where prescribed, or particular punitive action where the law prescribed. Now, because the president say the issue of rape is there on increase, and the magnitude now a national concern. So because of that, there was this clarion call for make them actually review the act, that particular the Parent Act 2012. So what may not happen over the years, the Parent Act, they tell you say for sexual offense, the restricted maximum sentence na 15 years. Then even give the judge the authority for even being sentenced you to 1 day or 1 hour. So because then see say that they not able to address the problem where we get, especially the rate at which rape they increase or sexual penetration increase. There was need for make them review the particular act where we get the 2019 Amendment Act.
Okay, Elkas Sano, head of communication, the Salon Judiciary, continue for the with me inside the program. Good morning, Salon. We go for a short music break. We continue the program.
When I sleep and wake up, every morning I thank God for life. And when I look through the window, I see the birds and the trees are singing in the air. Oh, what a good God. And then when I look at the top mountains and then to the hills, oh God, I see peace of Jah flowing down to the valleys and the seas, yeah. Oh, what a great God we serve in every day, yeah. What a great, great God, what a mighty God, yeah. His love is unending till the day we shall gather to His glory. Oh, what a praise we'll be singing, Him our praises all the way. Up Zion, down here Babylon. Babylon is marching unto Zion to praise our God. Babylon is marching unto Zion to praise our God. I see Christians marching unto Zion to praise our God. I see believers marching unto Zion to praise our God. Likeness, yeah man. So every man must look up to Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. I'll fix my eyes unto Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Well, from the music break, the inside the program Good Morning Salon, we can and continue with we studio guests them. Now we come to the Deputy Director Capacity Building, National Public Procurement Authority. We na Siaka Kurma. They are for talk about the procurement manual way then pull this BNTM, and now in the Gisabi to workman then at the procurement sector for use this manual here. So let we look at this sabi una the gi to workman them na the procurement sector. Is it na the procurement officers them way they work with una, or na the one them way una attached to different ministries, departments and agencies them una the gi the sabia?
Okay, so basically the training they go for public procurement practitioners. So whether you sit at the procurement committee or you actually work in the procurement unit, yes, everybody. But so like the MDAs will recommend, but we actually they look forward for members of the procurement committee and procurement unit members, whether be you procurement manager, be you procurement officer.
What's different on our for see after this session they wanna get with some people here?
Okay, so one of the problems that we public procurement landscape get in our salon that the law says that anybody with knowledgeable enough can be procurement officer. So we don't identify over the years that there is a capacity gap, like really people in the way in our procurement officers, and it's just like if I come in right now into these studios and Musa, for example, with all due respect to him, train me for be a presenter. And if Musa is not a qualified presenter, now wait till you give me now land. So because we not get then standards and it, so we try for like filling the capacity gap, the knowledge gap them way there. So what we expect is like after this session here so done, we expect good procurement records management so that anybody we go review procurement activities and can actually able for like access the documents and with ease. We expect for get sound contract management, so like procurement contracts are being executed with good precision we expect also that there will be a boost in the adherence level, so that when audit service, for example, go do the audits at the end of the day, they not go find too much, or go find minimal procurement non-adherence issues then.
All right, Shaka Kuroma, Deputy Director Capacity Building at NPPA. Continue for the with you. They take shots, commercial break, and come over to the other studio guests. We na El Casano.
Because in confusion.
But this confuse me, boo. Look where Uncle Nat in wall solid. Look him block them with them beat for him, where they save solid, and at the same amount of cement and sand then they use for beat me on. But look what in the happen, me wall down for them, all the block they all don't scatter. It like say some kind magic they behind this. You want to know the magic behind this? Now the superior quality, extra strong, extra life and extra yield cement where are they use, and that's not Dangote 3X Portland limestone cement. Dangote cement na the highest grade cement in the country. When na 42.5 R grade cement, when no one day come na this country, and na one of the highest grade pan cement where you go get na the wall. Where you want you concrete, wall and block solid, use Dangote 42.5 R cement, you no go regret them. You go get Dangote 42.5 R cement na online shop and building material store na the one whole country.
All right. The program Good Morning Salon, they continue. We come over to El Casano again as they tell you about the criminal session where the High Court they do na different parts na the country. The time frame we wanna get for cover all the cases here enough for wanna get target say inside the 353 we already wanna want for hit this number by the time they done for the session they done when the 26th of October. When I look inside all the cases here.
The unique thing are that when you get a very good leadership, you look at the timeline, then you look at you target whether you're able to achieve it or not. We know say within this time frame from the 31st to the 26 years, we're able to make sure say then 355 cases them all, then we're able to deliver judgment, and whether for able to get justice, you able to get justice. Who that at the end of the day for go prison, for go na the correctional center with the hopes it will go there for come and be a refined person in our society. But the unique thing in all this process now that we really need to commend the government of Sierra Leone and the judiciary. The reason why is that for me able to take them kind of bold step them, for able to fund this particular process, or able to make sure say you take justice to the people.
So that for commending for that.
It not ever happen because this not will not ever happen at the history of Sierra Leone.
But the people forget justice and the responsibility of the judiciary.
It takes a visionary leader where feel say if you listen to the cry of in people then he able make sure say he do waiting exactly in people want. Now that's not the whole idea. So for me, even though the government get a responsibility, the judiciary get a responsibility. Like for example, you now one part the people strong advocate for this sexual penetration here. Now, if you compare the statistics for 2019 and now, you go find out say it don't reduce, and that they show say you advocacy.
Statistics no they show like it go
down. No, it go down. It go down because if you watch at the 2019 statistics to this 2020, look like what happened in this High Court criminal session. You find out say the Southeast then get more SP cases compared to the North. That they show say now the North improvements don't take place. If you get a heightened campaign now across the country, you find out say one thing we near you for know also over the years waiting on the undermine this particular process. Now that tradition with traditional values, already undermine them particular thing. Where at the end of the day, some picking in the day we not even reach 18 at the age of consent. They cannot reach from 15. Then go take and say you don't reach for marriage, and by that people in some culture, some tribe they see for saying an accepted norm, but because them say an accepted norm, for me able to disorientate the mindset and accept this particular law. Say this what thing and they do now a ban for the well-being of the pikin, because the whole idea is government wants may allow the girl pikin for go school. make it allow me reach the age of consent before you go put her in a house. And that make inside this new act, this amendment act, the sentencing guideline where section 7b of the Parent Act 2012, it mandates the Honorable Chief Justice for able to come out with a compulsory sentencing guideline. And the sentencing guideline, it make them very much heavy on you where they pan them particular habits them, especially for tamper with speaking.
So you are aware of that case they will be make mention of that alleged police officer we didn't say a judge been sentenced. You are aware of him?
I'm knowledgeable. And another one also, I can remember where they raised a concern where that for meet of that emergency where they say the judge being get for pass a sentence for I think 1 day, where then they also raise a concern. But one thing I also me family know now that there is a sentencing guideline where the Honorable Chief Justice is sent out to all judges then. So when you the sentence, like for example, this new law they tell you say sexual touching, na crime. Sexual touching will mean say if you touch somebody now initially first the old law they tell you say na sexual the old law they tell you say sexual penetration only, but now they need charge you for sexual penetration without sexual touching, because then they tell you say before you touch that person there, if you don't able to touch her na side them way they seduce her like in bobby in ways. So this all are crimes them way then they bring person where then they bring cause in a court for. So that they tell you say this new law is really strong, and that they show readiness on the part of the judiciary together with the part of the government for make sure say make them tap them bad thing.
Okay, El Casano, continue for the waiting inside the program. Good morning, Salon. Una don't send una text message them on 07798191 and also on our Facebook page and Mabel.
The very first one, they look at the person they ask say, Mr. Deputy Director, can the public get access to the manual from the National Public Procurement Authority, because people need to know what it consists of.
This one say we need to save this nation from the procurement irregularities that are rampant in public and government institutions.
Alright, this other one say, Mr. Man from Judiciary, how would you explain a judge sentencing alleged perpetrator 21 days in prison for repeatedly raping a 7-year-old until her stomach was swollen? How would you explain?
This one say, is the judiciary an independent body because government of the day influences the judiciary?
This other one say, Mr. Minister of Education, please put measures in place to ensure students do not take exams at night, because there will be so much exam malpractice if such is continued.
This one on the Saratel story, they say, I believe Mr. F. From Cecilia Stoba on Facebook, they say, I believe Mr. F. Sanko wants to save the industry from going bust. Government must pay attention as it is a positive criticism.
Alright, this other one, they say, if the justice system in Sierra Leone is not corrupt, please explain the latest on the case of late Khadija Sako.
This one say from AK Mans now Facebook, say government and Minister of Information and Communication, please help save Saratel.
Alright, this other one says, sir, what will you say about the political interference in the judiciary? Come out on German cat. Alright, read female message and come to the guest them for respond to the message them. This other one they ask, say, Mr. Sano, why the delay by the judiciary to call the case filed by alright, we're not going into any of them. That particular message where the person send. This other message, the final I go look at this time is say, how long will the NPPA keep engaging ministry departments and agencies without proactive measures to ensure they penalize those defaulters?
The last one from me for now, from Hassan Manso Kagbo, says Salon Judiciary is not fit for purpose. It is the worst politically corrupt than any institution in the whole country. They are disgusting disgrace to the people of Salon. That's not the last text message for me for now. We come to we studio guest them for respond to the text message them. We'll start with the Deputy Director Capacity Building, National Public Procurement Authority. Quick one.
Thank you, Mr. So the manual was printed but limited copies, which was shared at the launching, and the soft copy there on our website www.nppa.gov.sl. anybody can access them. You can download, and whether you want to print it or you can keep the soft copy. And the other question was, how long will we be taking to address procurement irregularities? So basically what we're doing right now is to have a mechanism in place where we don't improve with end-to-end reviews. So, and we also can assure this nation, say, we will not be scared to take actions when necessary. So for those who will be defaulting and the non-adherence of public procurement regulations, the sanctions are there and we'll be implementing them.
But when una go start to implement and because not to
As
today
soon
the
as
law
there
then
is
starts
one,
for
my
the.
bell.
So it not ever happen, no, but not ever default
So I
procurement.
said earlier on that I didn't want to go into
Cleo,
the history.
please.
I said earlier, like, I don't want to go into the history of whether it don't happen before and not don't happen before. Of course, I know for a fact that procurement irregularities and people have been sanctioned, whether they were sanctioned justly or unjustly. I don't want to go into that detail. So basically, what I can tell you is that the sanctions are there, and if anybody breached them, they will be implemented.
Okay, quick one before we come to other studio for response to questions on Radio Democracy Facebook page. Question for the judiciary. Quick one. They say, Mr. Communication Person from the Judiciary, I want to draw your attention to some judges' drivers that welfare remain concerned. He say judges are well paid per month, but some of their drivers are receiving 800,000 loans. Some has served certain judges as drivers over 2 to 3 years, which their names still remain unapproved in the government's payroll. Institutions also need to look into such issues. This is now from Pablo from Moiba community. Now we Radio Democracy fans WhatsApp group.
Honestly, one for appreciate the people we take them precious time for able text and ask questions. For far too long, a lot of misinformation may not go out. We make people not able to understand how the judiciary operates, the functions of the judiciary. So at the end of the day, people they actually peddle the wrong information. Now, somebody talk about the judiciary not fit for purpose. Yes, now your opinion. But one thing I want to tell you, now that the judiciary under this current leadership, a lot of impressive reforms don't happen. Will not ever happen since independence. One of those achievements where don't happen now that today we get anti-corruption court. We not ever the anti-corruption division. This now for show the judiciary, the current leadership in commitment for also support the government in fighting corruption. We get the industrial court that they show how committed the judiciary they for able to accept the reform. Now today the judiciary the pilot in virtual court sitting where then when the pilot phase the court sitting they go on like what they are so the accused person in a correctional center, the stream life, they show him a talk, any lawyer able to communicate, then witness from outside oversee, it not ever happen. That is show say the judiciary they actually do a lot of reforms for bring calm to the people and waiting in the expert. Somebody talk about the judiciary corrupt. If they follow waiting they happen at the country, I'm sure say if you don't use this medium for commend the current leadership. Why? This current perception survey report will come out where Nakal and Bifid. Judiciary not even among the first 5. For me, if I commend the judiciary over the years, when they say report, perception report, when they say survey or whatsoever report, the judiciary they among the first 3. So for me, if you now Sierra Leone are ready for accept reforms, if you're able to commend the current leadership where the judiciary they go to. Somebody talk about political interference. I beg for differ. When His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio take over, one of the things them we always say, they say if we want make the judiciary perform in functions there, they say we need to get the judiciary for able to administer justice according to law. Meaning without political interference. We don't see case them where people are not ever expect say the government, they lost them, case them.
So
but for we know they go into that. Waiting me go assure you now that a lot of reforms don't they take. Look like, for example, the judiciary, they create a website now where you maybe if you get matter in a court, you just need to go online. You able click, you want for your name maybe Kaba versus this person.
All right, so quickly as to wrap up the program now, how you gonna respond to that person? We say that judge give 21 days to person wey sexually penetrate underage pikin, and the pikin they allegedly say he get swollen legs now because now repeatedly the person do am. And you been say you are aware of that case earlier.
Well, one way I want me family out there know now that before a judge they deliver a judgment, and they look at the evidence, because one thing we know now that the judiciary know they operate by rumor, and know they operate by opinion. Now on fact and the law.
So the facts will be there before that particular judge day. The facts will be there before that particular judge day. 1 minute. The facts will be there before that particular judge day. Not able for justify for let it go beyond 21 days where give that person day.
I know one wholesome talks in at that.
But you say
no, I just want to tell you this is not the fact.
Right.
Now that the judiciary they operate not on opinion but fact and the law. But one thing also as at the end here for tell Fambulem now that the judiciary get a new face. Okay. There is a simmering light and glimmer of hope where shows say indeed we don't get a judiciary where they able listen to the people them and able bring justice to the doorstep of people them where don't become challenged over the years.
Okay, thank you very much, Elkas. Well, now this edition of Good Morning Salon go left for this morning. Plenty thank you to the studio guests them, Elkas Sanko, head of communication. Elkas Sano, Head of Communication from the Judiciary of Salon, and also the Deputy Director, Capacity Building, National Public Procurement, Siaka Kuruma. Plenty thank you for Weunaka inside the program Good Morning Salon. And plenty thank you to we executive producer Michael Sambola, Alex Lawrence Kuruma, we produce the program, and the rest of the Good Morning Salon production team, DJ Ahmad Radio Technical Support, Moses Kabura and team we make una see we live na Facebook. And so then Musa Kamara they say bye bye.
And Mabel Kabade say get yourself a wonderful day. Bye bye.